The day after racking, you finally realize how much work it actually is because you wake up and you're friggin' exhausted. But you have a few more things to do, like tidying up hoses, gassing kegs, making sure there's no air in those bad boys, and other things. So you get her done. It's one of those great things that gives you some perspective. I feel like I'm about to do a fireside chat or something. But you go from kind of the madness that was in here, where it was like barrels just lining the floor. Let me see if I can there we go. Where it's like down the whole metal, like the center there, it was just like a bunch, and then you had a few more down here. You know, everything's all cleaned up now. It's so tidy and looking good. And you also realize how much wine you're actually making, because you get to look at all of it on the side there, going all the way to the door, plus everything that's in the back where we keep the good stuff. And you're like, oh crap, I got work to do. It's pretty nuts. It's really cool to see. I have to say, I probably am starting to sound like a broken record, this being like my favorite time of year as far as like the winemaking side of it goes. Like, cause managing fermentations and harvest and all that shit, it's fun. Like, it's crazy. You're busting your ass. You're working, 18, 20-hour days for like weeks straight, and it's madness. But you get to this stage when it's like calm down, and you finally get to see this, like, boom, everything like lined up, looking sexy, tasting good. Like, I mean, look at it. It's so nice. I mean, it's so pretty. And then you get your new oak barrels in the mix. Like, we got our 2 single barrel candidates down there on the bottom, those glorious G7 barrels. We got our new Cab Franc officially in its new home right there. Like the Rieslings, like all put to bed, like ready to go for, basically just getting ready for bottling that in the spring. It's like we start blending probably first week of February to start kind of getting some preliminary stuff done. That way, come March or late March into April, when where we're really getting ready for bottling and taking everything up in the tank, all that, so we have a pretty good ballpark of where we want those to end up. Man, yeah, it was a hell of a day yesterday. But yeah, it's kind of nuts when you finally kind of clean up the mess, and that's always like our last big like aftermath after harvest, is we have everything on these racks because we're storing them in different places depending on where they're at with fermentation, with ML going through, and just kind of where we want things to be organized. It's a little scatterbrained, and then we line them all up here in the cave. I taste through them in December, like the first video I did, and we see like, all right, kind of where everything's shaping up. And then I go back through and we start racking, and we do that yesterday. I taste through everything again, make sure that it's going where I want it to go. Oh, that's the other new thing. This is a new barrel we're using, since it was like right in front of me. Another little sweetheart from Gamba. This is likely gonna be some single barrel Pinot, like another little reserve bottling that we're working on. So yeah, that's gonna be fun. But it's like all of a sudden, like this is the moment for me in winemaking where it's like, all right, the chaos is like officially done. Everything is just cruising. Like, we are, as long as we didn't screw anything up like in the first couple of months, we pretty much get to just be a guiding hand for the rest of the winemaking process. Make sure that all these barrels are tasting good, that they're going the direction that we want them to go with flavors and characteristics. And then when we start blending before bottling runs, then it's like, okay, how do we fit all these puzzle pieces and all these different lots together to make MTGA? It's the next, that's like the next step. Cause everything, I mean, I get to go home and like watch football today and like hang out because we got all this done yesterday, which is awesome. So super stoked with how the 19s are turning out. They're actually, oddly enough for us, They're reminding me a lot of 2015. They're super, super fruit forward right now. They're super punchy. That'll smooth out as time goes on. But it reminds me a lot of that vintage for some reason. Even though the year, like growing seasons were completely different. We had such a crazy, weird year with the low yields in 15 and a long, nutty flowering process and pollination process. We made half as much wine as we wanted to in 15 because of how low the yields were. And in 19 we had like epic rain. Maybe not out. I didn't even look at the numbers. I don't know if we're even out of the drought, but maybe, hopefully, because of it, like a stupid amount of rain, a really long, kind of drawn out, cool growing season. Like the Riesling, random anecdote, like the Riesling this year came in on September 26th, and it was the first thing to come in. First thing that we brought in this year from 2019, the 2019 harvest. In 2018, the year prior, it was the last thing to come in, and it came in on September 26th. Mother Nature, man, crazy. But we're starting to see like those, like where these wines are like gonna end up. You're starting to get a little bit of that foresight. And when we get into this like first racking phase, when we're tasting everything, when it's in essence like a still wine and it's not going through any volatile processes and it's kind of on the right track, and it's like, okay, let's look at some of the past vintages and compare it and kind of see where it's headed and what we might be able to expect from it. So, yeah. Crazy. I'm so beat. Oh, I'm so glad I just get to watch football today. It's going to be the best. Whew. Go Pack! Yeah!